For many years as a child, I had heard band names or seen album covers of bands or photos or other imagery that I assumed would sound very intense. So the band either had makeup on and looked like monsters, so I thought the music would sound like monsters. Or the album cover would be very dramatic and feature fire and mountains and creatures that I thought the music would sound like fires and mountains and creatures. But oftentimes the music was much more straightforward than that. Not to my disappointment, it was also music I enjoyed. But I kept thinking, isn't there some music out there that actually sounds the way the image looks? More years went by, and one day a friend, a kid at my school, in high school, named Brian, brought in this bag of CDs. And here again, I was confronted with a series of albums by bands where their name and their album covers and the photos of them looked very intense and very monstrous. And I just assumed once again that it would probably not be that monstrous sounding, but I was mistaken. I was wrong, much to my delight. The music was very monstrous sounding, and it finally sounded the way that I imagined this music would sound. There didn't sound like people singing. It sounded like a monster singing. It was one of them. Yeah, there was World Demise was in there. Autopsy, Mental Funeral was in there. Cannibal Corpse, either butchered at birth or eaten back to life, one of those. Yes, and Harmony Corruption. And that was the least monstrous-looking cover because it was a collage of the anatomy illustration of a human head and an ape and a DNA chain, among other things. And it didn't look as monstrous, but it was one of the most intense of all.